And talk we will. It's 4 minutes gone past the 5 o'clock hour. It's time for us to talk about the biggest and the hardest fact for today. The big hard fact for today, we're looking at the upcycle elections in Kogi State. Don't forget, last week, Tuesday, we started with Bielsa, and today we're talking Kogi State. As usual, we have a guest in the studio that will be helping us to see exactly what's really happening on the ground in Kogi State and what is to come. And just for some background here, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said that one of its major challenges and concern in the conduct of the November 11 Kogi governorship elections is the prevailing security challenge. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the chairman of INEC, made this known when he visited the Kogi local government area office of the commission in Koton Cafe during a visit to the state to monitor the mock accreditation in Lokoja on Saturday. He said that the commission was working with security agencies to provide secured environments for peaceful and credible elections. He said, and I quote, "Wherever you go in Nigeria, you are sure to see two government offices. One is INEC. You will see an INEC office in a local government headed by an electoral officer, and an electoral officer. You will also see a police office headed by a divisional police officer. That's a DPO for the local government. So we are everywhere working together, and I'm happy that we're working together as we prepare for the elections." End of quote. Okay. My guest is the Executive Director of Electoral College Nigeria. Kunle Lawal, it's so good to have you join us. Good evening. Kunle, can you hear me?
Hello, good day, Marianne. How's everything? And it's a pleasure to be here.
Great.
I'm losing you for a bit.
Yeah. Okay, it's good to have you join us. Let's talk Kogi. It's almost the same thing. Last week when I was talking with our guest concerning Bielsa, it was also a security challenge that was more like a front issue, and then of course other issues that followed. But why is insecurity topping the list when it comes to the issue of elections almost everywhere in the country? I mean, we're yet to talk about Imo, but
if you say let's talk Kogi, I would first say I'll now first say Marianne, Okon, wow, and that's let's talk Kogi. But that's my play around the local dialects in Kogi State.
Yes.
But insecurity, like he said in Koton Karpi, the INEC chairman, of course, is concerned with the prevalent security issues in Kogi State, and here's the reason why. I'd like to say maybe.
Oh, Kunle, I think that your connection is very bad. It's telling us here that your bandwidth is low, and so you're frozen. We're unable to hear you. Can you hear me? Kunle, can you hear me? Oh my goodness. We'll try to see if we can get Kunle Lawal back to join us. If not, we're going to try to get him on the telephone. That way it's easier for us to hear him. Kunle, can you hear me? Unfortunately, we have lost that connection with Kunle Lawal. We'll try to bring him back on. All right, we'll try to see if we can get Kunle Lawal back on we'll try to get him on the phone because I think that the connection is bad. So Kunle, if you see a call, please know that it's from us. Kindly just take the call. We're trying to get you back on. Okay. All right. Kunle, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I
Okay,
can hear you.
perfect. We lost you on Zoom. All right.
Yes.
Once again, we're talking about the situation in Kogi, and we want to know why it is more like something that's constant across the board. Bielsa, Imo, and then Kogi. One would have thought that Kogi would have taken a backseat in terms of this issue of insecurity.
No, I'd be honest that it's more prevalent in Kogi than it is in Imo and it is in Bielsa. So in Bielsa, you have an incumbent governor returning into power. Same with Imo. And, you have the usual party strife, but it's just the party strife. Now, Kogi comes a little diverse nature to it. So first and foremost, Kogi is dealing with a matter where it's going to hand over to a new governor. That election brought in Yaya Bello, and this they feel they ceded power to a smaller tribe, which are the Okene, and the Ibira actually, but from prevalently Okene, and ceded power to someone who was taken by the courts as the rightful governor, and they feel they own the power that Kogi has. So now they want to take it back. And that is the situation. So Kogi is still on tribal lines. We also have to remember that the Okon, which is there are three major tribes, or let's just say three prevalent tribes in Kogi State. So those are the Ibira, the Iga, and the O people.
Yeah.
So the Okon feel since the Ibira have won or have become governor and served 8 years, they deserve a return. And they believe they deserve a return before it's handed to the Galas, because if they do not fight for it now, they might lose it to the power controlling majority Gala tribe. So the candidates are divided, major candidates are divided on these parameters. APC is fielding an Ibira guy, so Ibira. APC represents Ibira. So it's no more just party, it's now party and tribe. And then PDP is fielding Melai, who of course is of the Okun heritage. Now, the SDP candidate is the Gala's golden horse in the race. So the quarrel in Kogi and the insecurity in Kogi is not only party. So we have the party insecurities, but now we have a tribal, I wouldn't say war, but I'll say a tribal tug of war going on in Kogi State.
I hear that. I mean, what you've said now basically talks about how the presidential election played out. It looked more regional than national. And how does this play into the issue of insecurity? Do we see this deteriorating? Do we see it getting better? Being again that people may be divided along these lines, as opposed to looking out for competence and meritocracy, if there be any.
I'll be honest. Kogi right now has Yaya Bello as incumbent governor. Trying to hand over, I will translate it as Kogi people translate it, trying to hand over to his own brother, because the candidates of his tribe. So it's something that, of course, Governor Yaya Bello is trying to enforce or trying to pull forward. And as a party man, he would do best that his party man wins. Now, here's the issue. Kogi elections has always been a thug affair. Their political story can even be taken from a song from Tupac or something. And that's the way Kogi has run its system. Now, the governor will do anything within his power, and so will any of the other candidates. So it's going to be executive power versus rooted grass, majority power, which is the Igalas, and then versus a sense of belonging, because I think the Okon are tired of being deputy governors to everybody. And they feel, come on, we deserve our chance. So that's a lust for power. And that's what's going on. And let's also remember that Kogi is prevalent for state kidnappings, etc. It has already been unsettled from the beginning. And to enforce his power, or to enforce his hold on the state, the executive governor of Kogi State has also gone a little bit further in beyond his executive powers, trying to ensure control within the state. So I think all these factors put together are now turning into a cauldron of very, very, very hot political insecurity.
Let's look at the key players. There's the SDP candidate, there's Dino Melaye, the APC man, and all of these people. Let's look at their personalities, because you talked about the fact that this has been the modus operandi in Kogi State. And one who's looking from the outside in would say, how well has it paid Kogi people? What kind of development has come across these so-called ethnic lines and now our turn, situation? How well has it best served the average Kogi person? I mean, let's even start by looking at Yaya Bello. What has he really achieved in his 8 years of being a governor?
Marianne, I need to state this. So I believe that politics in every state in Nigeria, across the 36 states, are totally different. And in Kogi, it's more of my brother is in power than what my brother is actually doing. That's always been the MO, the modus operandi. So you have a situation where you have people that want to be part of the governance system, but not because they want to change it, but because they feel it's their turn. Regardless of what happens while their brother is governor, they will take the sweat and say my brother is governor. And that problem is massive, because they feel, regardless of who enters power, they will not see development. So the key areas are, okay, my brother enters power, at least I know that the road to his village home will be done, which my house might be on that lane, and I could get that, at least that poor dividend. Kogi has, and if you look at the history of Kogi has had very interesting governors till 2020.
I'm thinking that too many things going on in my head with what you're saying. My brother's turn, as opposed to getting good governance and the dividends of democracy. And this again also goes to speak to why Kogi is where it is. But let's move away from that and talk about the job of CSOs like yours in educating people, not just about voter education, but about knowing what their rights are, asking for good governance, asking for, responsibility and accountability. How will these people be able to even ask for any form of accountability if we're voting or they're voting across these lines? And what are you doing, the likes of the Electoral College, to educate the people of Kogi State?
So, if we were to look at what CSOs have been doing, I'll say averagely the Electoral College and a lot of CSOs have decided to put in the effort in trying to train, first. So what we do in Kogi State is like train the trainer. So we train people to pass on this political education. I'll tell you that even with, and this is off the record, no, it's on the record, I'm on radio. So, yeah, of course, I can't touch that. I can't say off the record on radio. But we've tried to, even in the purpose of trying to host the gubernatorial debates there, our sponsors and funders who thought, of course, the Electoral College will do a great job here, we're very concerned about the non-guarantee of security of the team while there. That's how unstable Kogi is. And we've tried, but it's a long run. It's a long game. We put in what's necessary. We'll keep working across everything, and we'll keep trying to put in, what needs to be done. But I think what Kogi actually needs is a new vision. Kogi needs to be re-educated to the point that Kogi needs to understand, first and foremost, that Kogi used to be, and if I can say, used to be a one-time, because I used to be a one-time capital of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and they need to feel the need to restore themselves to that greatness. Kogi is more than a town which you transit in when you're traveling and have fish and that of trying to change the way they are things, from the then to the meritocratic movement.
You see, you also answered my question. My question would be, how do If everybody within that place said in another year, and then says, you're bringing Mr. Shea, like, turn the cup chair, when state themselves don't come up with this idea, or somebody from the state, a known face, someone that they respect, does not begin to preach this message of otherness as opposed to looking things on the business of ethnicity and my brother. How long do you see a day in that particular hole? There seems to be a black hole of developments. No restructuring, no plan for things that happen. I mean, we've seen prison breaks happen, Kogi State. We've seen all sorts of things happen. Yet, the state worked it, and 8 years are gone for Governor Yaya Bello, and now you say he's trying to hand over to Partan. Where does this leave the average Kogi person, economically and otherwise?
So I'm modestly head my international party in the state. Some of American, I would like to say, those who have imposed that saviors of Kogi State, those who have championed the cause change, regardless of party, haven't really stood out themselves. So what we've had in Kogi State, what they had, is they have decided that even so-called saviors, are not much different from what exists. So they just lay around and don't deliver anything. I must add that, and I must add that this is not me just flowing in the Kogi coalition, giving a secretary. Like the most successful senator in Nigeria, I think, democracy. Most people don't know this. And he's not even known it. It's not something he can mention in that campaign. I'm just trying to draw how bad the situation in Kogi. So he can't even mention that in the campaign because people don't hear what is he doing. What is he going to put together? What is he? And offering is not offering as a governor, offering as his campaign. And that is where the hurt is. Offering, the problem is. And to me, if called saviors want to follow the same playbook, they can't be far from norm. There's an ADC candidate that's been talking about local government autonomy and the fact that he wants to get duly elected chairman and will release the exact allowance being given by the federal government to the local government. And he's the ADC candidate. And he's kind of shortchanged because the way the Okon people see it, Dino Melaye already represents the Okon tribe. Somebody in a so-called fringe party, and no party is fringe, in a so-called fringe party, though he has great ideas, but they feel their own man is Dino. Dino can win. So nobody's listening to the ADC candidate.
Wow.
But he said it on channels. He said it publicly. He's taking this message across constituencies. He was on channels on campus. Nobody listened to him.
We have to go for it. When we come back, we'll talk. And of course, we'll bring Lagos in. And looking at Kogi and putting it side by side, Nigeria, is Kogi State mirroring the major problems in the Nigerian society? We'll be right back. It's still Hard Facts, 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Lagos, you heard it before, and I think it's best you hear it again because the I Beg to Differ Debate Championship audition has commenced. So if you didn't know, you know now. Well, secondary school students from the age of 13 to 16 can now compete for the grand prize of 1 million naira. Yes, you heard me. Only the best is crowned the winner, and registration has already started. Though, if you don't know, registration has already started, and it will end October 20th. And how do you register? Upload a 4-minute sound recording, 2 minutes arguing in favor, and 2 minutes arguing against. We want to hear you argue both sides so we can see how good you really are. Successful candidates will be contacted via email. So, do you think you have what it takes? I mean, do you think you're really up to the task? Well, if you, then do not sleep on this. And please, do not sleep on this, Lagos. Begin your registration now. To enter for the championship, visit nigerianinfo.fm to begin your registration. That is nigerianinfo.fm to begin your registration. I wish you good luck.
This is an infomercial.
Wazobia Comedy Club is back with lots in the way of comedy, games, music, and plenty other special appearances by Wazobia FM OAP.
we have lost that connection with our guest. Kunle Lawal is the executive director of the Electoral College. I'm just going to read 2 messages before we wrap up this conversation. Somebody here says, we saw what happened in the last governorship elections in Kogi State. Please, INEC and APC-led government should be proactive than to give us excuses. We don't expect such things to occur again. Kogi State is my neighborhood. Itodo John from Lekki, thank you for your message. This one's from Adad Doom Doom. Okay, I'm sure this message is not for me. Okay, this is from Decency, but this is not for me. Okay, thank you very much for your message. Unfortunately, our guest is off the line, and we have just 1 minute to go before we go for another break on the show. Here's hoping that the Kogi elections will go smoothly. But unfortunately, from the conversation we've had, there's a lot that needs to be done in terms of re-engineering the mindsets of the people in Kogi State. But I mean, I would have really wanted Kunle to answer that question of what's happening in Kogi. Could it also be reflective of the Nigerian state and how we look at things in this country? Because, of course, a lot of people would say, well, the reason why we look at things from the prism of ethnicity and religion is because we're divided as a people. But we're seeing it happen in states. How long can this go on? Where is the place of decency and meritocracy and people being able to do their jobs and getting the dividends of democracy? Well, these are questions that are begging for answers. And the average Kogi person would be hoping, fingers crossed, that they have a good governor. I think it's also time for Kogi State to have good governance. And the only way they can have that is when people begin to ask for accountability and make sure that they vote, not because they're being induced. Well, I'll leave it at that because it's time for us to go. On this side of the clock, I want to thank you all for being part of the conversation today from 3 o'clock till now. My name is Mary Ann Okon. I'll be back tomorrow. Always here with Hard Fact. But don't forget, the sports gang will be here by 7, of course. So get ready for some sports talk. And, of course, Adab Blessing will come later on. And then, of course, the Morning Crossfire at 5 a.m. with Kofi Battels. And then, of course, the wheel continues to spin with What's Up Lagos, Jimmy Disu, Joyce with the sunny side, and then I will be back at 3 p.m. Follow Nigerian Info on all of its social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and like our YouTube. Subscribe to it so you get notifications every time we go live. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, MIMIEYO, or just search for Mary Ann Okon everywhere else. All right, Lagos, it's been a great pleasure doing this with you. We'll be back again tomorrow. Have a beautiful evening.
We are Nigeria Info.
At Nigeria's hub for information,
News,
sports, and more.
get involved. It's 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
The home of entertaining conversations.
I personally think Liverpool of last season that lost the title were better. That's my personal opinion.
Somebody who has the virus refused to isolate. That's even attempted murder, in my opinion, because you know how dangerous this virus is and you refuse to do the right thing. It should be a crime.
99.3.
A young man like me looking for what I'll fed myself, and police are collecting my money. It's evil. What the letter will say? I'm not doing that. I have a luxury shop.
Your number one station for talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria.